YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me today on Monday, November 24th. And could I get a Roll Tide inside the comment box? It is the Iron Bowl week, and we have a lot to discuss. Today will be a great week of coverage. I will provide my normal content. I know it's a Thanksgiving week, so just kind of a heads up. We will have normal programming this entire week, Monday, 10 a.m., all the way through Friday. So thank you so much for joining me on today's show. I will give some shout-outs. Today we'll go over a couple hot topics that are out there. I know a lot of you probably saw the news about Ryan Grubb being mentioned as a candidate for the Cal job that just opened up yesterday. So I'll talk about that, and don't worry, I'll walk you kind of, through your anxiety if you're thinking that Grubb might go somewhere else. It looks like it's going to be Tosh Lupoi. But I want to start out today's show by giving a quick final recap and putting the game to bed against Eastern Illinois. Okay, let's not lose sight, number one, that Alabama defeated Eastern Illinois by a score of 56-0, right? Like, let's not lose sight of another victory. And that victory is the 9th victory of Alabama's season, which matches the win total of last year. Those are positive things, right? Allowing the defense only allowed 34 yards. The offense ran for 7 touchdowns with the running backs, 1 additional touchdown with quarterback Austin Mack. Like, those are the positives, right? And there's a lot to assess when you're looking at this team. So let me run down a couple of these topics as we put Eastern Illinois to bed, okay? Ty Simpson clearly does not look the same right now. And I know out there it makes you uncomfortable to hear those words. And I think if you were assessing Ty Simpson, we have to be honest with our assessment. And if you've been hearing this out there on your other YouTube channels, it's the truth, okay? And we're not jumping off the Ty Simpson ship, okay? We're trying to figure out how can we get kind of restarted here in the back end of a pivotal time when Alabama still controls its own destiny. We have faith in Ty Simpson, right? We do. We've seen what he's been able to do. We understand his playmaking ability. But I think the metrics that you work off of are the metrics that are reality, and the fact that you have 8 turnovers in the last 5 games. That is clearly not it. So how can you get Ty Simpson out of this slump? That is something that I'm sure they're working on. And there's probably some of you that might not think that he's in a slump. He did throw an interception that I felt that was on him against Eastern Illinois. The guy also made a really good play, just jumped up and made the catch. But the Hail Mary one, I mean, anybody could throw an interception on something like that. So he doesn't look the same at this point in time, but we've seen what he's capable of, and I'm not about to jump off the Ty Simpson ship at this point in time. And I will say this, too. Coach Kalen DeBoer has shown us in the short time that he's been here that he's going to ride the quarterback until the wheels fall off. I mean, he could have made a lot of changes last year when we were maybe wondering about a different quarterback, but he rode Jalen Milroe even through the ending bowl game. So I don't expect him to, do anything different. And I see you guys talking about Ty Simpson with the back injury. I haven't seen that at all. And I would imagine if he does have a back injury, they would assess it and he probably wouldn't be playing. So I don't know if he has a back injury. The other quarterbacks, it was impressive to see the other quarterbacks, and I'm not here to start like a quarterback, battle or anything like that. Clearly, Ty is number one. But I do like what we saw from the other quarterbacks, and I think when you look at the other quarterbacks, you have to be excited about the future of Alabama's quarterback position, right? I mean, what's not to like about Austin Mack? What's not to like about Keelan Russell? I do feel that when Austin Mack came in, and maybe they had some halftime adjustments or whatever it was, he did a good job commanding the offense. Would you agree with that? Yes or no? Did the offense kind of look fluid in that second half when they started under Austin Mack? The offense operated. They went down the field. They put something on the board, right? And I think with Keelan Russell, he has a great delivery. He has wheels. He's fast. He's got some really good speed. So I look to the future of Alabama's quarterback room. I'm really excited. Even the guys that they got in as commitments, the Alabama quarterback room is in such good position, and I feel that collectively these quarterbacks are getting quarterback development training from the staff, which I feel that they haven't had in a while. And to be honest, I look forward to seeing these guys battle it out. And I know the pressing questions at the quarterback question, and this should be addressed kind of after the season, but will Ty Simpson come back? Will Austin Mack transfer? Those are like the questions that are going to be out there after the season. And we'll talk about those things after the season. Because right now, I mean, a lot of NFL analysts still have Ty as one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL draft. It's not the strongest draft class for quarterbacks. So let's let it run its course before we go talking about that. Alabama ran for 8 total touchdowns. Is the running game better? To be honest, I would say, I don't know. You had a lot of guys get opportunities because of the opponent that you played. We all know that. The opponent was not good. Eastern Illinois was terrible. They were terrible. So is it better? Well, if you can run the ball against Auburn, if you can run the ball in the SEC title game, those will show us that the running game is coming along. But right now, it was nice to see, but I don't know if it's overall better. And the one thing that is still kind of on my mind is the fact that against Eastern Illinois, I felt that you should just be able to line up against a team like that and be able to just impose your will. And to be honest, I didn't really see a lot of that against Eastern Illinois. I just didn't. I want to see more explosive plays. I've been very open about that. That's something that I just don't see from this team. Should be able to just reel off like some big runs, be able to absolutely dominate. The defense has been dominating, allowing only 34 yards. That is just such an impressive statistic. I don't care who you're playing. That's crazy. And when you're playing a team like that, you're not supposed to allow any points. They didn't. Eastern Illinois, they couldn't do anything. And that's how you're supposed to play a team like that. So once again, hats off to the defense as an entirety. I mean, defensive line all the way to the back end, these guys just play wonderful. And 1,000,000%, this is the backbone of this team right now. Backbone of this team. The kicking game, I have different videos about the kicking game. It's not where it needs to be. It's terrifying, to be honest, having a kicker that is on the struggle bus going into the Iron Bowl. I don't even know if this is fixable because I think he's the best of the rest that you have on the roster. Somebody said this yesterday. I still don't know if this is true. I haven't had time to look into it. But someone said that there is a college student on TikTok that is kicking field goals until Alabama offers him a scholarship. Is this true? Well, somebody, if you have time, will somebody let me know if that's true? Isn't that hilarious? And yesterday, Alabama is still ranked 10th in the coaches poll. And the coaches poll doesn't really mean anything. The AP doesn't mean anything anymore. But the college football playoff rankings will come out on Tuesday. And those will be the new rankings, which I don't think there'll be a huge shakeup considering the outcomes of this last weekend, but who knows, right? So that's kind of putting that game to rest. Now 9-2 on the season going into the Iron Bowl. Graphic in from North Alabama Storm Chase for that tailgate in Auburn. It will be 51 degrees. The game time kick will be 47, and that fourth quarter, 45. I had thought that James Spann had said that it was going to get in the 30s, but it doesn't look like it's going to get a freezing temperature, which is good, right? I'm just worried about all the people driving kind of back and forth. But yeah, I like those temperatures for a Thanksgiving weekend game. Hell yeah, love it, love to see it. Nice graphic, by the way, North Alabama Storm Chase. I appreciate it. All right, let's do a couple AM shout-outs this morning. Thank you so much for kicking it with me. We have Steve Taylor. Good morning to you. We have Max Tooney checking in. We have Young C Gaming. Thank you very much for being here. We have Broderick. What's up, Broderick? We have Max Tooney. We have Chris from New Jersey. It looks like our usernames have kind of reset once again, right? Patriot Live, man. Good to see you up in here. We have Andy coming to us from Denver. We have Bruce Williams. We have, I think we said what's up to Steve Taylor already. We got a good crew up in here. We got Young C. We got Debbie Hansen. We have Bruce is coming to us from Indiana. We have MHS 0407. He says, Jimmy Stein said Saturday that Josh Cuevas suffered a leg-foot injury last week of practice, but nobody else has said anything strange. I think regarding that is the fact that we're waiting for Coach Kalen DeBoer to really address it, because I think there's been kind of some hearsay out there. But I learned a long time ago, it's better to wait for Coach Kalen DeBoer to address something fully than to go off speculative information. Like sometimes, like I live here, okay? I live in, I live in Tuscaloosa. I hear things. I talk to people. But like something with the injury, I'm not going to really, go into that unless Coach Kalen DeBoer goes on that, because I've seen everything that you guys have seen. But Coach Kalen DeBoer talks today at 12. I'm sure he'll be asked about it, and maybe this is something they're trying to figure out, but I have no idea. I'll just wait for Coach Kalen DeBoer to address it. But it is something that we are tracking on Josh Cuevas for sure. Let's see. Daniel Denny says this, 199. He has 42-10 Bama winning. That's what I was thinking. What if Bama just comes in this game and absolutely just runs the table and just 4 quarters of domination, right? I think it was Pate who brought this up. He was like, sometimes we manifest these type of games. And I was thinking about that. I was like, that is such a good point. I think we manifest this super, these crazy games. And that's what happens. And see, this is another one. Roll Tide Probs is saying that now Ty Simpson's back is hurt. I haven't seen that. So I don't like injuries. I don't mess with them, especially during this week. I just wait for Coach Kalen DeBoer. Right, and Crystal would love to see just Alabama absolutely come out and just dominate. Could very well happen. You imagine? The thing is, why I might argue against that is Auburn hasn't been beaten like that this year. The most they've lost is by 10 points, I think, to Georgia. But other than that, they've been in pretty much every single game. Their quarterback situation is a little bit strange this year. They played three quarterbacks. I would imagine you get Ashton Daniels this weekend after Deuce Knight played this past weekend against Mercer. But I think you'll get Daniels. And I think Alabama's defense will be up to the task. I mean, think about all the quarterbacks that Alabama has faced this year. They've faced all the scary quarterbacks that you could face. Bo Perbula, Diego Pavia, Gunnar Stockton, Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer. Literally, you went through almost all of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, and the Alabama defense showed up time and time again against all of those quarterbacks. So Ashton Daniels, while I know he had a really good game against Vanderbilt, the Alabama defense is number 1 in the SEC. So, all right. Hey, fam, if you want to become a fan funder of this YouTube channel, it is really easy to do. Hit that join button. And there's different levels. Most of the people that you see in green are fan funders of Bama football on YouTube, which I really appreciate. So by Super Chats, that is how you support Bama football on YouTube. So thank you so much for your consideration as we go into the Thanksgiving break. I really appreciate it. Okay. Important stuff. Let me put this to bed real quick. And if I didn't give you a shout out, hold it against my head, not my heart. That I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you being here. Okay. And I spend a tremendous amount of time personally carving out the graphics so you have something aesthetically to look at. I could honestly, it would be way easier for me just to do a video like this. Seriously. I could just have a notepad and I could just talk. But I feel like you as a viewer deserve better than that. I feel you as a viewer want something that you can also look at while I'm talking, right? So, and every single graphic is handcrafted by me. So if you see an error on there, just let me know. I make mistakes. I'll be able to take care of it rather quickly. Do you like the graphics, or would you rather just be this? Ryan Grubb, a candidate for Cal. And this came out yesterday, right? And the first thing that I saw when Justin Wilcox was fired at Cal, I was like, Ryan Grubb. Because West Coast. And I associate West Coast jobs with Ryan Grubb, right? But as I started to think about it, let me bring up the points. I was like, I also read the names that it was Tosh Lupoi. And I was like, that makes a lot more sense. Tosh Lupoi, remember that's a name that we remember from here, right? He was here as a defensive coach under Coach Saban, really good recruiter, and he worked his way to the NFL. I think he went with the Browns, right? And then I think he went, now he's at Oregon as a defensive coordinator. Anyways, he went to Cal, and it makes perfect sense for him to get that job. I have a source actually close to that situation, believe it or not. I've been around the game for a long time. And so I reached out to this source, and I was like, what you think about the Cal job? Ryan Grubb? And they're like, it's 200% Tosh Lupoi. So if you have anxiety about Ryan Grubb leaving, like right now, I would put that to side. All right. I have another video. Even in my Wake Up Bama, I addressed it. So, and I also have to ask you right now, is Grubb's name hot right now? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think, look, when his name was like really hot, Coach Saban was reaching out to him to be the OC here. Now, the last 2 years, right, he was at Seattle. Now he's here at Bama. I think he's even still trying to fine-tune his craft against tougher competition, right? The NFL don't play. That's the one thing I love about the NFL. The NFL doesn't sugarcoat it. If you suck, you get fired. That's how life should work, period, right? That is kind of, in my opinion, that is what makes, like this country great. Like if you don't do a good job, you get your ass fired. There's no like, oh, don't worry, everything will be okay. No. Like you don't get the job done, you get fired. The NFL does not play. And clearly, at Seattle, they didn't feel that he was getting the job done, so they fired him. There's no relationships. There's no buddy in the NFL. Like you fire your dad if you can't get it done. It's crazy. So I do feel Ryan Grubb right now, his name isn't as hot as it will be in the future once he gets things really going. There's been a lot of times where I've liked what Grubb has done, but I might be the only dude. I don't know if any other show. I don't watch any other shows, period. I'm always, live or cutting videos here. But does anybody else bring up the gadgetry? Like, I think, you know how I feel about gadgetry, but it's so mid. It is so mid to gadget plays. Although, I do have to say the Giants ran 2 gadget plays yesterday and they scored 2 touchdowns on them. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Before I move on from Ryan Grubb, how would we assess his play calling? Stellar, like 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Someone made a good point inside the comment box recently. They were like, he does a good job on 3rd downs, even 4th downs. I was like, I would probably agree with that. But I don't know. Is this like a huge change from last year? I would say I think it's a better offensive system than last year. But it is something at least to think about, right? Mike has Grubb as an 8. Joe Crooms has 6'5". I think I'll go with like a 6'5" right now. I wouldn't go like 5. I'd probably go like 6'5". Dexter says, what's up, man? I appreciate the super, bro. If Ty is struggling, could we see another quarterback? No, absolutely not. And why I say that, well, let me look at it 2 ways, okay? Let's go off what we know about Kalen DeBoer last year. And there could be a million different reasons why he didn't play anyone else. But when Alabama was struggling, let me ask you this. Did he play Simpson last year? Were there times to play Simpson last year? Yes. He rode Milroe until the wheels fell off. Even to where they lost games. He was like, that's my guy. I'm going to defend him. He's defending Connor Talty right now. That's the truth. You got to defend your guys. It's his program. But if the past tells us about the future, I would say no. Now, on the other side of the coin, I would say he better, because if Ty Simpson continues to struggle and he can't get out of this slump, by the way, I think he will before everyone attacks me. You don't like Ty Simpson. You've always been against him. No. Quarterback controversies at Alabama are the absolute worst to cover. I just wish the quarterback was like a baller so I could just, because it's people pick sides. It's family. I get it. But I'll say this. If he's on the struggle bus, he better make a change to try something different, to try to get the offense going. Coach Saban had to do that. Coach Saban had to bench his son. Think about what I just said. Coach Saban had to bench his son, Jalen Hurts, to play his other son, Tua Tagovailoa. You know how hard that was for him to do? But guess what it did? It was better for the team, right? And they won a national championship. I'm sure it was really hard for him to do. So he's got two guys. I don't know if we haven't seen these guys in SEC competition. But I don't think that we see another quarterback. I really don't. I think it would have to be really, really like dire straits for us to see another quarterback. I just don't. Do you guys agree with me, or do you think, maybe they play a different quarterback if the offense can't get going? By the way, for record, I think that Ty Simpson will get it going. Okay, and I think he's capable, more than capable, to beat Auburn. So Ryan Grubb not going to Cal. Okay, Tosh Lupoi, heavy favorite. All right. The one coach, before I move from this graphic, that should be mentioned by everybody is Kane Womack. He could go a lot of places. His name has to be hot. He's grown up. He's done a really good job. He's had such a glow up from last year to this year, right? All right, check this out. This is the weirdest thing. This is the weirdest Iron Bowl stat. I'm sure there's a million of them, but as we kind of turn the page now to Alabama, Auburn. Isn't this a weird stat? For the last 6 Iron Bowl matchups, there's been a different head football coaching matchup. Isn't this weird? This isn't common. Only this type of weird game would have something like this. Hey, Rex Green, good morning. Tonette, good morning. Bama Boy, good morning. Amanda Jane. I think I say Anna inside the comment box. Dennis Corset, good to see you, bro. Dennis has Ryan Grubb, by the way, at an 8.5. Appreciate the feedback, bro. So this year, it's going to be DJ Durkin going against Coach Kalen DeBoer. Oh, that's a good point. Max says that this is weird for the Iron Bowl, but normal for NFL. I like that. You had Freeze going against Coach Kalen DeBoer last year. Hugh Freeze versus Coach Saban. Cadillac versus Saban. Harsin versus Saban. And Malzahn against Steve Sarkisian. Isn't that was a weird stat to me that stands out. Paul Bryan, what's up, man? And next year, you know what? Next year, it'll be a different one as well. And I guess you could add even 2019 Malzahn versus Saban. And then next year will be different because Auburn's going to hire somebody different, right? What a weird stat. Coach Saban said this about playing in the Iron Bowl. In my opinion, in 17 years going to Auburn, playing at Jordan-Hare, that place is haunted. The way we won games there and lost games is unbelievable. It really is. He's not lying. Nick Saban on playing at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The last 4 games at Jordan-Hare specifically have been crazy. So let's kind of rewind the tape real quick and look at some of those matchups, okay? And I want some feedback here inside the comment box. And again, if you're just joining us this morning, good morning. I hope that you are off to an amazing start for Thanksgiving week. It'll be normally scheduled programming from Monday to Friday with live at 10 a.m., wake up, Bama at 4 a.m., and then news as it happens, okay? The last 4 games at Auburn. Y'all remember this? Okay? 2023, we go to the barn. The final is 27-24, with Alabama winning on late heroics. Milroe found Isaiah Bond in the left corner of the end zone with 32 seconds left, 4th and 31, and the Crimson Tide moved to 11-1, 8-0 on this season in Southeast Conference play. Number 8 in the college football, came out on top in the latest and probable finish at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Milroe, 16-24, 2 touchdowns. Milroe had 18 carries for 107, and that was actually Jermaine Burton had 107 yards in that game. Wasn't that the craziest game? I think kind of rewinding to that 2023 matchup was the funniest thing, because that was like kind of one of the first couple of years of YouTube TV, right? And I'll never forget, there was a group of Alabama fans watching that 4th and 31. And as Milroe threw the ball, the TV froze. And the guys, like, they didn't know what happened, and they missed the catch, but it came back, and it was, streaming the victory. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So that game, absolutely bananas, right? Like 4th and 31, are you serious? That was the game that Seth McLaughlin, right? He was still the center at that point in time. 4th and 31 is just madness. Called the Gravedigger. Can't really talk about Isaiah Bond anymore because, he bounced out to Texas, but still, what a hell of a play. Jarvis, let's see what he says inside the comment box. Believe it or not, we are the biggest favorite headed in Jordan-Hare this season. Wow, interesting. Georgia, who was ranked number 10 when they played, like we are, the line was 4.5. That was the biggest line until ours. You know what, Jarvis? So I saw on FanDuel earlier this week that it moved down to 3.5. So I screenshotted it and I put it on Facebook, and people were like, "That's fake news." I saw it go to 3.5, and then I saw it go to 5.5. So obviously the line moves. And Rex is asking inside the comment box, how was Sarkisian coached? Yeah, going back to that last graphic down here, or a couple graphics ago in 2020, that was a COVID year. That's Rex, if you want something hilarious to read, or if you guys do, read the Chris Lowe story on 2020 when Coach Saban missed that game for COVID and Steve Sarkisian coached. It is the funniest article you've ever read. Coach Saban's watching the game from the top floor in his house, and Miss Terry's watching from the bottom. And like that whole story is comedy. I still laugh thinking about it, because there was 2 hours before that game where Saban couldn't have any sort of contact with his coaching staff. And so they're like, well, what did you coach for those 2 hours before the game? And he's like, nothing. I literally got in my house and drove around Tuscaloosa. It is the funniest story. All right, 2021. This was crazy. Remember this? Bryce Young. This game went into 4 overtimes. 4 overtimes, all right, with just a minute 32 remaining on the clock. This is 2021. Nick Saban and Alabama trailed the Tigers 10-3. 10-3. With their college football playoff hopes in the balance, quarterback Bryce Young led a 97-yard drive to tie the game and send the game into overtime. The Tide would win in overtime. Remember, he threw that 2-point conversion to John Mechie, right? Hit him with the crane. And Alabama would eventually win 24-22. Bryce Young, 25, 51, 317. Yo, that was TJ Finley? TJ Finley was the quarterback. Oh, my goodness, man. That's crazy. Brian Robinson Jr. Had 71 yards, and then John Mechie had 13 receptions for 150? Jeez. That's crazy. All right. 2019. These are just the last 4. I've got 2 more to go over. Let me go over this one and my next one. 2019. Auburn 48, Alabama 45. Sean Shivers scored an 11-yard run with 8 minutes left to put number 16 Auburn ahead of another failed field goal by Alabama kicker Joseph Bolivas. Bolivas was 1 of 2 on that day. In the Iron Bowl, wiped away the 5th-ranked Crimson Tide's playoff hopes in a wild 48-45 victory for the Tigers on Saturday. the team's in-state rival delivered the final blow to knock Alabama out of the playoffs. Remember, this was the year of Joseph Bolivas. Remember this? So in this game, he was 1 of 2. And you had Mac Jones come into this game, right? 335 yards passing, 26 completions. But it was Bo Nix who beat him out. Bo Nix, 15 of 30, 173 yards. Najee Harris. Yo, this team was good, too. This team was good. Mac Jones, Najee Harris, Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs had 6 for 99. It was a funny story in this game, kind of like behind, after the fact. Mac Jones, you remember when Mac Jones kind of scooted out down the sideline in this game? It was like the first quarter. Who remembers this? And he got hit like incredibly hard. So much so, did you know he chipped a tooth on that particular play? I'll always remember that story him telling. All right, and finally, 2017. This is my first year covering Alabama football. And, I remember that, Kyle. Yeah, Mac Jones had 2 pick sixes. Wasn't the first pick six like in the first series of the game? Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, 2 pick sixes. Crazy. So this is my first year covering Alabama football, right? And at this time, Alabama was 11-0. And to be honest, I had never been to any SEC football stadiums. I'd never been to Auburn. So I'm like, okay, rivalry game, whatever. I went over there, and Alabama had been so dominant this season. Honestly, it was kind of like, they're going to go down to Auburn. It'll be the same thing, whatever. We'll roll out, and that was it. I stopped at my buddy's house in Montgomery and had some lunch with him and then went over to the game. So I have never seen Alabama. I say this all the time. I had never seen Alabama dominated in the trenches like I saw that game. It was crazy. It was like seeing Superman just get pummeled because that's how good I felt that team was, right? So the bio box says, I know the text is small, but it says this time, Jarrett Stidham, Kieran Johnson, and number 6 Auburn didn't need a miraculous final play to unleash the celebration. It was a build-up. The Tigers beat top-ranked Alabama in dominating 26-14 win Saturday. Auburn earned a berth to next weekend's SEC title game against number 7 Georgia. You remember this? This was that year that Alabama didn't make the SEC title game. And they set out, and because Georgia beat Auburn in the title game, Alabama still made the playoffs, right? Remember this? This was crazy. And this was the first year I think where they were in that situation, and then that was eventually the 2nd and 22 when Tua hit Smitty. And the craziest thing was, I think that was the year that Central Florida ended up playing Auburn, and they went undefeated, and they remember this? And Central Florida claimed the championship. That was a weird year, but Alabama was a true champ that year. Hey, Dr. Kevin Cook, man, what's up, man? Good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. All right, so just kind of pointing the picture and painting the picture. You already know it, but kind of reliving some of those games is just absolutely madness. I need your help here. What are some more keys to the games? On Wake Up Bama this morning, these are the keys to the games that I softly came out with. But I'd like to add a couple more. Yeah, 2nd and 26. Thank you, Colby. What are some additional keys to the game? So far, this is what I've come up with. Don't overthink this game. I get it, content creator, but this is the scariest game. Like Pate said, we're manifesting this, field goal with Talty from 43 yards. It's another faceless opponent. And straight up, I think roster for roster, I think Alabama has a better roster than Auburn. They have better coaching than Auburn, right? It's another faceless opponent. I just think that's how much home field matters in this game. So another faceless opponent, and hopefully the team doesn't overthink it. Like Ty, don't overthink it, man. Just go out there and just do your work, right? I would say Eric Thomas is just keys of the game, just beat Auburn. Don't give them momentum. And what I mean by that is don't keep these guys hanging around at halftime. Everybody that they played It's been close at halftime. That's why I was saying, like, what if Alabama just comes out and just dominates? I'm talking like I was saying at the beginning of the show, like 21-0. You take all the momentum. You take the crowd out of it, right? Punch them in the mouth. Attack. And I know the offense hasn't been, like, flying out, but, actually, do you kick or receive in this game? I might actually kick. Usually I like to receive, but the way that the defense is playing, I probably kick. Back to the basics. You know, when Alabama was on its run this year and had won 4 consecutive games, I love that addition, Dennis. Bama was doing something, 2 things that they were doing well, and they were winning. Didn't matter who they were playing, they were winning. Time of possession and no turnovers. They were taking care of the football and taking care of time possession. And they didn't need explosive plays. They didn't need, they just took care of teams based on those 2 metrics, right? They've kind of gone away from that because I think in the last 2 games they've lost the turnover battle. So you guys say inside the comment box, okay, Bama Boy says start out fast. Dennis says it's simple. And he says to protect Ty Simpson. Yeah, I'm 100%. Let's write some of these down. I need a better pen up in here. All right. We're going to say protect Ty. We're going to say no turnover, special teams. Okay, yeah, of course, kicking, right? We don't want this game to come down to a kick. We know that. What else we got for keys of the game? Oh, I like Crystal. This is good, right? It kind of like don't overthink it. Don't try something new. All right, yeah, I like that. New, all right. Ooh, ball security. Yes, 100%. Yep. Ball security. Rex says this is going to be wild. I'll see the first half from work. Drive home at halftime. Oh man, you're gonna be flying for halftime. Grubb needs to call worthwhile plays. I like this, Thomas. How about some downfield shots? Hey, Jamie Bird, what's up? Good to see you. Hope you're off to a good start. And J Money says contain Deuce Knight. You know what, J Money? I think you'll see Ashton Daniels at quarterback. I don't know if they'll play. Who? Let me ask you. What's the pulse? Who plays quarterback? Who starts at quarterback for Auburn? Daniels or Deuce Knight? Ooh, Valgal, catch the ball. Love it, 100%. Amanda says no Krispy Kreme. You know I love that. No crispy. We love crispy, but just not. We don't need to pass to crispy when we have Lazier Brooks, when we have Jeremy Bernard back, right? MHS says put a tight end on the right side of the line. That I love that idea. And you know what? That's probably where we're missing like a Robbie Oots type guy, right? Because Danny Lewis hasn't been healthy for all season, right? This is Neil points out this. I talked about this on Wake Up Bama too, is Alabama's only had 7 penalties in the last 3 games. 1 against LSU, 2 against Oklahoma, and then 4 against Eastern Illinois with a lot of young guys. Neil, that is a great point, bro. J Money saying Deuce played last week as well. So probably so you guys are rolling with Deuce Knight, huh? Okay. DJ Durkin, I think, speaks today. Maybe we'll hear from him. A couple more. Latoya says, stop with the long developing routes. Jay wants a pick 6. Keep your head in the game. No needless penalties. This is huge. Don't get caught in the mud, right? None of these like personal fouls or something that extends drives. These are all good points, fam. Really good job on this, right? Max Tooney saying Ashton Daniels. I think Ashton Daniels too, but like I said, I'm never prideful enough to go against the undefeated. Fam, as you know, video is powered by you, of course, and also by Sleeper. When you download the app, you get $20 upon the entry. Get a deposit match of up to $100 when you use the promo code, which is tailgate. Available in 25 states. Terms and conditions apply. And, please support Sleeper. And Sleeper, you can use fantasy football. You can also do more or less. So, like tonight, when the 49ers are playing the Panthers, how many yards will Bryce Young throw for? 300 yards, more or less. Same thing when you're talking about Brock Purdy or Christian McCaffrey. Should be an excellent game tonight, by the way. Also by TickPick. Download the app for concerts, music festivals, and they'll take care of you if you use the promo code, which is HMA. So, but it's only available on the app. So if you want to, take someone to a concert or festival of some sort, TickPick is your 100% spot. So HMA is the promo code for TickPick. Okay. All right. You have this weekend in terms of the college football slate is just, we're going to be in heaven, fam. Okay. Like this college football slate is wild. So I'm going to read these out and maybe talk a little bit about some of the playoff implications in each of the conference games. Okay. So what we have here is in the SEC, and I kind of organized it. It's crazy. I'm super A-type. I know there's nothing I can do about it. But I even organized it based off the most impactful games by conference. Okay. So you can only imagine how I organize the refrigerator. I know it's a problem. You should see I have a drawer for this is crazy. I have like all my utensils like in my cabinets, like perfectly organized. Same thing with like all my, tea on the top. It's crazy. All right, so the SEC, obviously the most important game taking place is Alabama versus Auburn. For this particular game, Alabama wins. They're into the SEC championship game. We've talked about Alabama getting into the SEC title game. If they win that game, they're 1,000,000% in. If they're 10-3, if they lose that game, what happens? Who would they be compared against? And we'll talk about that as we move forward. Texas A&M and Texas. If Texas A&M beats Texas, then Texas A&M is in the conference championship game. If Texas beats Texas A&M and Georgia, who's already finished their conference schedule, if Texas wins, then Alabama theoretically could play Georgia in the SEC title. Those are your scenarios. Ole Miss, they're looking for their first 11-win season. Would that be their first 11-1 season? Maybe not. But if they're able to get past Mississippi State on Friday, then they would be 11-1, pretty much a lock to make the playoffs. You have Oklahoma and LSU. Oklahoma has to win that game to make the playoffs. Vanderbilt and Tennessee should be one hell of a game. Vanderbilt could be on the outside too. They could finish out 10-2 on the season, right? Hey, Cody, come back tomorrow, man. I'll give you a birthday shout out for your 27th birthday, bro. And then you have Georgia playing Georgia Tech. I was surprised that Georgia Tech got beat up by Pittsburgh. It seems like they've kind of had a late season crash out, right? So looks like Georgia Tech is no longer a playoff team, but still a good team, right? I like their quarterback. In the Big Ten, you have Ohio State and Michigan. Jarvis, what's the line on this game? By the way, Michigan has won the last 4 games against Ohio State. Is there anybody out there that thinks that Michigan wins again? If Michigan beats Ohio State, Indiana wins, and Oregon wins, and Ohio State has a late season loss, then it would be Indiana and Oregon playing in the Big Ten championship game. If Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon win, which they all should, then it'll be Ohio State at 12-0 versus Indiana at 12-0. Okay? In the Big Ten championship game. Hey, Reginald, I appreciate it, dog. Thank you, man. All right. In the ACC, there's a lot going on. And the most important games are SMU taking on Cal and Virginia taking on Virginia Tech. If SMU and Virginia win, then those are the 2 teams that play in the ACC championship, okay? Miami needs a lot going on for Miami to get into the ACC championship game. But Miami can still beat Pitt and finish out 10-2. I've asked you before, and when we talk kind of playoffs, and we'll do that more tomorrow, how many teams does the ACC get in? Because you got to take the winner of theoretically SMU and Virginia, but you also take Miami, who has a win over Notre Dame. It seems like Miami could be a 10-2 team that's a bubble team that gets left out again. Don't lose to Louisville, right? And then Notre Dame is playing Stanford. Notre Dame should win that game. They're getting a lot of style points. They're going to finish out 10-2. Notre Dame, and I don't want to go off on Notre Dame right now at this point in time. I'll save it for the playoffs. But Notre Dame was given a cheat sheet to how to make the playoffs. The playoff committee gave them the script. They're like, yo, you need to be able to run the ball. You need style points. And it doesn't matter who you lose to, okay? Because if you lose to really good teams, we will overlook that by beating Syracuse 70-7. Okay, so beat the Powder Puffs, beat Navy 7-1, beat them up, beat up Pittsburgh, beat them up, and beat up Syracuse. Okay, and finish out the year by putting 50 on Stanford and 10-2. No conference game, no problem. We got you covered. Right? It's crazy. In the Big 12, Texas Tech, if they beat West Virginia, which they should, and BYU beating Central Florida, which they should, those two teams will play in the Big 12 Conference Championship. Okay, so what I think will eventually happen in terms of, this weekend and what will happen in terms of the SEC, the ACC championship games is Ohio State will finish out 12-0, beats Michigan. Indiana 12-0, beats Purdue. Texas A&M loses to Texas. I know, call me crazy, but I think somehow Texas beats them. Georgia beats Georgia Tech and finishes out 11-1. I think Oregon beats Washington. Ole Miss beats Mississippi State. Tech beats West Virginia. Oklahoma beats LSU. Notre Dame beats Stanford, and Bama beats Auburn, which would set up Big Ten, Ohio State versus Indiana, SEC, Alabama versus Georgia, and ACC, SMU versus Virginia, and Texas Tech versus BYU. Here's a look at the last college football playoff bracket, and we will go over this more on Tuesday, and we will be live on Tuesday for the college football playoff show, and I will update the bracket when it is live on Tuesday night. But right now, as you look at the bracket, I don't know if there'll be many changes, right? All those teams won, right? So I don't think we're going to see any changes. But after this next weekend, we're going to see a lot of changes because of all the games that are clearly on tap. And right here, Alabama has a 61% chance to make the college football playoff. Those odds clearly increase if they win the SEC title game. They're pretty much a lock. If they lose the SEC title game, and this is from ESPN's All-State Predictor, so if they make the SEC title game and they lose, they have a 59% chance to make the playoffs according to that model. So we'll see where it stands. That loss to Florida State at the beginning of the season certainly hurt, and I think that they will be kind of held to the fire in that regard. Did you see that Florida State has decided to keep Mike Norvell? Did you guys see this? So yesterday they announced that Mike Norvell is staying at Florida State, and I was following this, and I think that Florida State somehow thought that they were going to fire Mike Norvell. No, they're not. No, they're not. Hey, Terry Chapman, what's up? Thanks for being here. Terry has it 34-20 Auburn. Bet on it. Oh man, that would be crazy if they beat Bama by 14. You wake up the next day and. I'm not kidding you. If Bama doesn't make the playoffs for a second year in a row, you might wake up the next day and we're just covering college football general. Like, not making the playoffs 2 years in a row, we got to make changes. I'm telling you. All right, Alabama basketball. Taking on Gonzaga today, who is, by the way, number 13. I think they'll even be a top 10 team when the rankings come out because the updated rankings come out on Monday. 8:30 p.m. on TNT. Okay, so the nightcap, 8:30 p.m., TNT. Alabama's taking on Gonzaga out in Las Vegas, Nevada. This basketball team is wonderful, okay? Battle-tested, full of ballers. They have wins over St. John's, who was number 5. They beat number 8, Illinois. They're an up-tempo type team with so much talent. LeBaron Philon, one of the best in the game. Their only loss comes to losing to number 2 Purdue. LeBaron Philon scoring 20.5 points per game. Aiden Holloway, 17.7. Sophomore Keaton Bristow. Have you seen this guy? Played in one game. Oof, man. Yo, this dude is a dog, man. Dog mentality, 100%. And freshman Amari Allen is very tough as well. I like those two guys, what I saw from them against Illinois. And Coach Oates, yo, he is not afraid to play elite competition. Think about all the teams that he's already played. So, you know, he's battle testing this team for the SEC. And I love it. Love to see it. You know, I'm a huge Oates guy. So, you know, and if you haven't seen Alabama basketball, if you haven't been, you know, watching, you got to watch this team. So Philon in this last game, you watched it, right? He took over against Illinois. It was crazy. Like when you needed Batman to show up, he came in and well, he was Batman. And Max Tooney points out, he's like, I like Oates' scheduling strategy, 100%. Think about this. The last 4 seasons, Oates has the number 1 hardest schedule, right? He's not afraid to play anybody. And I was thinking about this too. I was like, it's so amazing to see Alabama basketball. Think about for the brand. You went to Madison Square Gardens, pulled out a W. You went to the United Center. You're talking New York City. You're talking Chicago. Now you're taking them to Las Vegas, Nevada. You're taking them to major cities in showcasing the brand of Alabama basketball because I think the nation, we all know how good Alabama basketball is, right? But when people hear Alabama, what do they think? Football. No. Yo, yeah, you got a football team over here for sure. But you got a damn good basketball team. And this isn't like a little fad. Like Nate Oates has had this team rolling. And the expectations for Alabama basketball are sky high. I don't think that right now that they have reached their ceiling. And I've had a lot of people contact me about this take I made regarding Alabama basketball and Purdue. I think at that time, if those two teams played that night, that Purdue would beat Alabama 10 out of 10 times. And people were like, that's not true. I feel that night they would have. But I feel going forward, Alabama is not close to their ceiling. This team is going to get a lot better. And think about when Jalil Bethia comes back as well. And now that right cell's kind of been in the mix. So the guards are crazy on this team. I love Taylor Bowen, the transfer from Florida State. I think he's a really good big. But I don't think that they're close to their ceiling at all. I think they have a lot of room to grow, which is scary for the rest of the world of college basketball. So that's kind of where we sit today. So tonight, Alabama basketball in action, 8:30 p.m. Central Time on TNT. And also, the 49ers are taking on the Panthers, okay? So, and as I said on Wake Up Bama, yo, Jahmyr Gibbs, who has him on their fantasy football team? It's crazy. You have Jonathan Taylor, who's killing it. You have a CMC, Christian McCaffrey, who's killing it. And you have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's like going ballistic. I can't even imagine being a Detroit Lions fan and having a team like the Lions have right now. They must be so happy. The Lions have been, they've been looking for something like this for a long time. I'm going to kind of open up a period. If you want to ask me anything under the sun, shoot away. If you want to talk football, basketball, NFL, whatever, go ahead. Take your best shot. I appreciate it. But, yeah, yo, Gibbs yesterday, it was crazy. And he's not on my team. I'm playing against him. What can you do? You know, what do you have? In my league on Sleeper, I think he had 55 points. Hey, Colby, take it easy, man. Oh, that's Ethan. I know you are, Colby. Yo, that's Ethan. I don't know what's going on with the usernames. It does that every once in a while. Anybody got any grievances? They want to get something off their chest? A birthday shout out? Anybody want to say hi to mom? Anybody want to talk about what they're cooking up for Thanksgiving? What's the best Thanksgiving dessert we got? Is there anybody that bakes inside the comment box? You know what? Look, I love pecan pie, and I love pumpkin pie. I would probably go, if I had to give like my rankings for pie, I would go pecan pie, pumpkin pie, apple pie. Is that right? Am I wrong? I don't know. I felt weird about putting apple pie third. I guess it kind of depends on who makes it. Andy says my neighbors need to pick up their leaves. We just did that. Kate and I, we went out and we got the 2 rakes and put them into the huge bag. It sucks. It takes about 30 minutes. It's not that bad. Cody says we need to strike fear into college football and in basketball. Yeah, and come back tomorrow, Cody, for your birthday. All right, Anna says, prayers for my mom as she's facing some health challenges. All right, prayers out to you, Anna, out in the ATL as your mom deals with what she has to deal with. She'll be fine. We'll keep her in our prayers 100%. Yes, North Alabama, we showcased it this morning, your graphic. You did a great job. I thought you did a really nice job. Okay, sweet potato pie. Ooh, sweet potato, man, 100%. I love me some sweet potatoes. Dennis says, did you see the take when Gibbs said that he'd rather do NFL practice versus Saban practice? No, I didn't see that. Yeah, Saban practice, man, because the players are always saying that the games are easier than practice, which I think is obvious, right? Dr. Kevin says, I knew like you, Kyle. Come with that again. Paul, what's up, bro? He says pumpkin cheesecake. And Amanda says pecan, sweet potato, and pumpkin. Okay. J. Cole says his birthday was November 3rd. Hey, appreciate it, man. We're November babies. So happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to you, J. Cole. Thank you so much for the comments inside the comment box. 2025 says no sweet potato pie. You know what? I do love sweet potato, but for me, it's the, maybe, is this like a Southern thing? I see. This is weird. Let me try to explain this. Sweet potato pie to me is like, it's not like a pie. Like I don't see it as a dessert. Am I tripping? I don't know. Oh my goodness, Steve, you have Jackson Smith and Jigba? Yo, that catch that he made was nasty. Ooh, 1990. Oh, this is Jay on Pensacola. He says red velvet cake. That red velvet cake goes hard, right? All right, Dr. Kevin Cook, ask it again. I want to see what you had to say. Miss Nicole Covington says red velvet, pound cake, and sweet. Ooh, pound cake is good, too. Thank you for adding that. And Cali Bama says, just give me some banana cream pie. And yeah, thank you. No, I had a great birthday. Thank you so much. My mom made me a cake. It was good. It was good. Kids came over. They wrote me some cards. It was nice. All right. Sean says I'm tripping. So sweet potato pie is like our dessert. Okay. All right, fam. Well, that's today's show right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coming up at 12, you got Coach Kalen DeBoer. So I'm going to be listening as you will be. And if anything pops up there, I'll probably come back with another video, my takeaways at like a midday report if that needs to be addressed. This is really a big weekend, clearly, right? And a big week of content. So, make sure that you have your notifications turned on, that you're checking back frequently on the YouTube channel or on our Facebook channel as we're posting frequent updates going into this Alabama and Auburn game. Oh, and Nicole saying it's a Southern thing. All right, so the sweet, see, that's weird to me. So like for me, and I've been here 10 years, I get it. But sweet potato pies is not a dessert. Which is really weird for me to say. We have green chili chicken enchiladas. Is that weird to you? And we put red chili on our mashed potatoes. It sounds like I might be from does it sound like I'm from like another planet? Ooh, banana pudding is really good. You know who has really good banana pudding here in Tuscaloosa is Dreamland Barbecue. Dreamland Barbecue has really good banana pudding. All right. Carrot cake is solid too. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you know when I start talking food, I'm ready for a little lunch. All right, Kings of Boxing is like, yeah, super weird. I get it, man. But if you came with me to New Mexico, I treat you like a king, bro. You get your pick, and I feed you all the great foods. But if you come to my house in Tuscaloosa, we're doing mostly Southern things. But I'm still looking for somebody to come up with the collard greens. All right, fam. So all day long or all week long, we're going to be talking Thanksgiving. And same schedule, 10 a.m. Central Time right here live. And then as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Stay blessed. Have a beautiful rest of your day. 12 p.m. Coach Caitlin DeBoer will bring her back here, some excerpts or anything kind of major that pops up. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. And thank you so much for kicking it with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama.